for me, this is so instructive because Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of the top fundraisers in the Republican Party. She's positioned herself as somebody who's going to get small donations, be closer to kind of the base than, say, even a senator like J.D. Vance. This is the only thing that they have in response. So she starts off this thread on what happened in East Palestine like this. The devastating consequences from the toxic train derailment and explosion in East Palestine, Ohio, are only beginning. Deadly chemicals are spreading far and wide through the air, groundwater, and rivers, blah, blah, blah. I don't think blame can be placed on one person or nefarious cause. I think this is a tragedy that happened because we are a crumbling nation with many causes as to why we're crumbling. So she keeps going on. It goes longer and down the thread. But here's the key part, I think. No.
I think this is a good opportunity for Biden to come back out and do a second bite at the apple of the infrastructure bill.
Yeah. Shoot, I lost the train of thought. But what's what's happening in East Palestine is probably just the beginning of more tragic events that are likely to happen to us in our crumbling nation. In the rail industry, they have been suffering from labor shortages that were exacerbated by COVID shutdowns, especially the freight industry, which is a critical piece of our supply chain that delivers foods, goods, chemicals, and fossil fuels in order for us all to survive. With labor shortages, cutting the number of rail workers on trains, it creates potentially dangerous conditions for trains and railways. The disruption in our economy, blah, blah, blah.
Well, just to be clear.
Yeah. She's blaming labor is what she ends up doing here. Hold on.
Well, but first off, the labor shortage, there are no labor shortages.
Yes.
They refuse to hire more people. We just saw this.
Yes.
We just saw this. This is what the threatened strike was about.
Yep.
The threatened strike was about hire more people so that we can take sick days without threat of being fired.
And then, so instead of making that point, this is what the populist right offers. Here we go. If we can put this up. Okay. Not only do we have a shortage of people, we have a shortage of good values. And hard work is one of the most important good values America is losing or has lost. Think about it. How many kids do you hear say they want to be a train engineer when they grow up? I don't know. Maybe if they had sick days, they would want to be.
How many people?
I know a lot of toddlers who
choo-choo.
How many people you hear want to inherit their parents' construction business and have affairs at the CrossFit all day?
Yeah, right.
That doesn't sound so bad.
That's her life. There we go. She goes on and on, but I wanted to highlight that just because it's this long thread where she acknowledges the problem, the environmental disaster. It's very similar to what J.D. Vance said there. And all it comes down to is blaming the values of workers as opposed to corporate power. And that is right-wing populism distilled. And same thing with J.D. Vance. It's really just a cultural issue with Appalachia and with people in rural Ohio. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Stop blaming others for your problems and feed into the capitalist system. That is the only thing that they offer for real problems. They'll identify it and then blame people for the problems that they face.
It's interesting. It does feel like if you read this, if you hear what J.D. Vance is talking about, there does feel like there is almost like a redux of Trump's speech, his RNC 2016 speech. You remember that, where he was talking about, it was like almost like he was describing Gotham, like a dark vision of the country. And of course, like there's this vague thing that she's arguing that it's like a lack of values is what did that train. It created this train derailment. No, what it is a simple failure of government to exert its authority over corporations and the protection of corporate profits over the safety of American citizens. Period. End of story. That's what's going on here. And there's plenty of opportunity now that the Republicans control Congress. I think they should offer up a bill to add more money to the rails, and maybe let's nationalize these rails.
Yeah.
Let's beef up the EPA. Let's beef up enforcement by the Transportation Department. Let's increase regulations. Let's do this.
Come on, Democrats.
They won't
and
do
that's a super depressing thing. Is like we get to this point and it's up to the Democrats to call their bluff, and
Exactly.
just don't have the personnel to do it.
No, I agree with that. Although I wanted to get into that story about that story about that Greg Sargent wrote about Maxwell Frost, and also we're seeing a little bit with Biden. Maybe we'll talk about that in the fun half in terms of Social Security, because it's driving them crazy. But there is a huge opportunity here, and if Buttigieg both had the adeptness, and I also think it's impossible for him, though. I mean, I think like there's just too much of an opportunity here for someone who was like, you know, even like a young Biden who was just a total cipher, right? Would see this as a political opportunity. If Buttigieg wasn't so immersed, and I think he's just like, you know,
no, he's bad at politics.
Well,
Buttigieg is bad at politics, and he's so in this corporate world, he has no sense of what Biden's a good politician. And I mean, to a degree, right? Like he understands what regular people, how they're going to respond.
Pete's a neoliberal plant.
Yeah, exactly. A ghoul like him has no sense.
Well, it's amazing because, you know, people have suggested that he's, you know, Mayo Pete. The idea was that he's really sort of bland and there's nothing that he believes in. And I think he was considered a cipher. And a cipher would see this as an opportunity. If you're gonna run for president, you take hold of this opportunity and say, we have a problem with our transportation, because people can't stand flying with good reason. Airlines are just, it's been a crap show. And people don't have any real attachment to the freight train business other than making sure that it doesn't kill them or destroy their city or whatnot. I mean, there's a big opportunity here. And the fact that he's not out ahead of this indicates to me that he can't eat. He is so steeped in that, in a culture where corporations must be protected and their interests uber alles, that he can't even be self-serving about it. It really is fascinating. All right, we got to take a break, head into the fun half. Folks, just a reminder, it's your support that makes this show possible. You're going to become a member by going to jointhemajority.report.com. Do you see that?
Yeah, good job.
I said you're going to.
Oh.
And when you do, you're going to help the show survive and thrive. Jointhemajority.report.com.